Hey everybody, welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid. As you can tell, I'm in the middle of a winter wonderland. It's February here in Central Virginia, growing zone 7. And despite the fact that there's snow everywhere, I'm out here gardening. I'm going to show you how I like to do it. One of the ways I like to garden in the winter, it's with one of my favorite plants. It's one of my favorite trees. It's called a Weeping Willow. What I'm doing today is I'm taking some well-rooted willow cuttings. Look at those roots. From 20 little cuttings I made from my Weeping Willow rootstock. And I'm going to put them in soil, pot them up. And then here in a couple of months, once we're past the last frost, I'm going to transfer them into the ground. So I'm going to tell you some pretty amazing things about weeping willow trees, show you how to grow them from cuttings just like I'm doing here. Let you know how you can get your hands on some cuttings if you don't have any around where you live. So check this out. Let's check on our chickens while we're in here. What's up, guy and girls? Doing good in there? Over here, I want to introduce you to our Weeping Willow rootstock. This is where we take our cuttings. Looks like a teepee, right? Because it is. Looks like something's been chewing the bark off the bottom down here, right? Because they have been. Let me show you the culprits. These are our little bunnies that are getting very, very big. Hello, bunnies. Okay, we got Beanie. He's the boy. And then we've got Miss Einstein, who is a girl, and we've got Daphne. Okay, our son Daniel named him Daphne because she's got red hair like in Scooby-Doo. These are a mixed breed. They are New Zealanders crossed with something else I can't pronounce because it's in French. And they are only about 7 months old, and they're already sizable. These things will get up to close to 20 pounds. So why weeping willows? Why is our rootstock shaped like a pyramid? And why have the rabbits been eating it up? Okay, weeping willows are my favorite because they are practically impossible to freaking kill. And we're pretty good at some of this homesteading stuff now. We've been here going on 5 years now, especially with trees, because I have literally planted thousands of them on my property. Grown some from nuts, from seed, made some from, I propagated some from cuttings like we're doing here with the weeping willows. I've purchased some, but not many. But here's some benefits to having weeping willows. They are excellent for absorbing moisture in wet lowland areas. So if you have a place on your property that stays wet long after the rest of your property is dried, after maybe a heavy rain or after a snow melt, weeping willows suck up a lot of water, and they're a great tree to put in those locations so that they can help maintain that land. It'll keep that land. You can actually make that land useful again. Get some weeping willows in there, reduce the extreme moisture content, then you can plant bushes, blueberry bushes, other trees like fruit-bearing trees. Number 2, or number 3, let's see, hard to kill, good for sucking up moisture. Number 3, the little cuttings that I just showed you that we're rooting, we're doing that in the middle of winter. You can root them year round, okay? If you love gardening, if you're into this kind of thing like we are, you know that one of the things that sucks most about winter is the inability to get out and do the things you love. Weeping willows gives you a reason to get out there and do it. Work on some cuttings. Those trees, and we're going to pot the ones up later that I just showed you, and you're going to see me doing that. If you've run out of spots on your own land to put them, or if you have a yard, you live in town and you've already planted that one tree and you don't need any more, give them away to friends. You can sell them, and I'll talk to you about that here in a minute. We make a couple $100 a day whenever we have our weeping willow sales in the spring. But I want to tell you the history of this with the pyramid. We actually had some friends who had a weeping willow in their yard they wanted cut down, and here's why. I mentioned how they like to absorb a lot of water. You've got to be careful because you don't want to plant them close to your water lines. You want to make sure they're at least 100 feet away from your water lines. Our friends had accidentally put a weeping willow too close to the water lines, and the root system went out, found the water in the lines, and started crushing the old, this is when they made them out of ceramic. It will destroy your older water lines, so make sure to keep them away from the water lines. So we went over, cut down our friend's tree. We didn't charge them. They're friends. We said, just let us keep the wood. We burned the bigger portions of it, but a lot of the small stuff we stuck in the ground, and this has been 3 or 4 years ago now, from one tree, and it wasn't even that big. It might have been 20 feet tall. It was maybe 8 or 10 years old. We have propagated literally thousands more trees. So we made a pyramid here in our garden, and we grew green beans around this originally, but now, as you can tell, we keep rabbits and chickens in here. It gives the rabbits something to chew on. Something about rabbits, guinea pigs, gerbils, their teeth are always growing, and they need to chew on chew sticks. That's why people sell chew sticks. We sell them in our Etsy store. Weeping Willow is a safe wood for your pet rabbits or guinea pigs or whatnot to chew on, and it helps shave down those teeth. Your animals will actually starve if they don't have something to chew on and gnaw those teeth down, keep them filed down. Their teeth will grow to the point to where they can't eat and they'll starve. So, and again, reason I like Weeping Willows is best number one, they're so hard to kill. Our rabbits are not going to kill these trees by chewing the bark off of the roots. And what I do is I just make sure to come up here, and here's where I take my cuttings. Another benefit to having Weeping Willow stock is that if you are trying to root other trees, Weeping Willow has a natural rooting hormone in it. You can add little cuttings of your Weeping Willow to the water in which you're soaking your other trees. It will help those trees root quicker. And you can even, we've done this in the past, just snip a bunch of it up in about 1-inch pieces, boil it in water, and then let the water cool down, put it in a jar with a lid on it, and then use that water as a rooting hormone. But I wanted to show you, we have an entire garden section here fenced off. It's 25 feet by 50 feet. We keep an ongoing nursery of Weeping Willows just here in this spot. We had our sale last year. We sell them for cheap. We list them on Craigslist for like 10 bucks each. And they sell, usually we only have to sell for a day or two because we'll make, well, we sell them out. We sell out. We'll make a couple $100 a day. It all depends on, you know, how many you can get, how many you want to do. We really could do more. We have the space for it, but this is a good way just to make a little bit of extra money. But this Weeping Willow that I'm holding on to here started out as a cutting, just like the ones in the jar that I showed you at the beginning of the video 2 years ago, I believe it was. 3 at the most, okay? But as you can see, it's about 12 to 15 feet tall. We've got half a dozen or so that we didn't sell last year, this size. And then let me show you what we've got coming for this year and for next year's sales. Okay, I know it's winter, and so I know everything's dormant. But one of the ways in which you can root Weeping Willow cuttings is you can just cut the sticks and you can loosen the soil and just stick the cuttings directly into the soil and just make sure you water them quite a bit there at the beginning. You don't have to soak them in water like we've done. That's one way to do it. But these rooted, we did these last fall, and as you can tell, even though they're dormant, they did sprout. They did grow new leaves, or new little baby limbs here, and which had new leaves on them. So what that lets you know is that they have rooted and the roots have taken hold. So you can't really see because of the straw grass that's grown up and browned in here, but we have row upon row of, zoom in on some there, Weeping Willow cuttings. And after we have our spring sales, we dig them all up. We like to start over here on one end. As we sell them all out of this row, we'll go ahead and replace them with a bunch more Weeping Willows. And I mean, you can have, we've had at times more than 1,000 in here at once, and almost all of them lived. So one of the most amazing Weeping Willow stories we have to tell here on our property has to do with this Weeping Willow that we have right here down here at the corner of our pond. I mentioned we had taken down a tree for our friends. Well, we cut some sticks off maybe about 1 foot tall, and we used them as vegetable markers in our gardens. We would plant a row of vegetable, we'd stick a Weeping Willow stick in there, then we'd put the seed packet of whatever it was we just planted in there on that stick so we could remember what we'd planted in that row. That's how this tree, which you can see how thick it is down here. Now the deer got to it a little bit this fall. You can see the bucks rubbed that, but you know what? These trees are so resilient, that won't hurt it at all. And I did manage to get some chicken wire around the rest of the base before the deer got it all. But this thing is close to 20 feet tall. It's only been growing for about 3 years. Started from a cutting, accidentally grew that big. And this land right here at this corner of our pond, we always had a problem with moisture. We stuck this thing in here. This is the perfect place for a weeping willow tree. This will reduce the moisture in this part of our land, and it will allow this tree, as you can see now, can't wait to show it to you this spring and this summer, to thrive. All right, so now here's my absolute favorite thing about these weeping willow trees and weeping willow cuttings. I love gardening. I love agriculture. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it's February. It's not that cold out here. We're having a very warm day for this type of year. It's in the upper 40s. I look for reasons to go outside and do things when the sun's up. I cannot stand to be inside the house. Weeping willows give me the ability to garden in winter. So this is my favorite part. Once I've got them rooted like this, I get to take some potting soil, you know, which you can get pretty much anywhere, Lowe's, Walmart, down there at Biff's Gas and other stuff. And put in the soil, and then I've got these tied together. I'll just unloosen them there and start adding them in there one by one. It's really simple. And wouldn't you know it, I picked the one that didn't root. It's because I don't know how to edit videos and I can't cut that out. All right, so look at this. Look at that beautiful, well-rooted root system there. Beautiful green leaves. It just feels so good to be outside, getting the fresh air, getting my gloved hands in the soil, parting the soil, putting it in there, getting those roots in there. Now, I will be keeping these inside the house. We have a room in there that's all the walls are glass because it's still getting down into the 20s at night. But once things start warming up, what I'm going to do is I will either transplant these directly into the ground. There's a couple more wet areas on our property that I want to get some weeping willows into, or I'll transfer them directly into the ground there in our nursery, or we'll just list them for sale, 10 bucks each. On Craigslist, because by then they'll be well rooted in the pots and they'll be even more, you know, alive, more boisterously alive than they are now here. So that's all there is to weeping willows. I skipped one part. That's simply how you just clip the cuttings. You know, it's like this. Let's say this is over here growing off of our pyramid in the rabbit pen. All you got to do is go down. I'd like to make them about a foot. These are 15 inches. You just snip it off. Take the part you snipped off, put them all together, and again, either put them directly in the soil if it's warm time of year. If not, put them in water and let them root. Now, how can you get some of these if you don't have any already? Ask your friends that have weeping willow trees if you can just come over and get some cuttings. I'm sure they won't mind. You know, never just go on somebody's property that you don't know and do it. That's not right. We sell them in our Etsy store. We sell various sticks for the chewing, you know, chew sticks for animals. We sell these, and this was bundled because this is actually from our stock. We had 20 cuttings, roughly 15 inches long, for $15. So the link to our Etsy store is actually in the description box below. You can go down there and you could, for $15 plus shipping, get a bundle of 20. And then when they get to you, and we cut them fresh. We don't cut them until we get the order. So you can get them, stick them in water. These have been in water for about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. And then you can put them directly in the soil or pot them up there at your place. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something about weeping willows. Remember, if you love to garden, you love to get outside, who cares if it's winter? You've got to get out and do it because it's something you love to do, no other reason. And if you'd like to have a way to start making it more possible to actually have something to do in the winter, start rooting and growing weeping willows. See you for more next time.